Good night, Instagram. Good night, Facebook. Good night, YouTube. Good night, good night, good night. Welcome to Mindful Live 545. Welcome. I am your host, Nathan Springer. Thank you for being here. It is a late start, 10:10 in the beautiful Twin Island Republic, 23rd of the first month, 2026. Speaking straight to you out of Trinidad and Tobago. Well, the Trinidad part of Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome. Once you are on the inside, make sure you hit that like button. 2 taps of the screen over there and TikTok should do the job. 2 quick taps, double tap the screen out there, get the likes pumping, allow the algorithm to know, hey, this is some good stuff. So send it out to some more people. That's all it's really about. The algorithm, allowing the algorithm to know, hey, I like this. So send it to some more people. So click that like, drop a comment if you have something to say. If you're looking at this and repeat on YouTube, Nathan Springer on YouTube, you can catch all of the lives there. If you ever miss any, you can catch them out there on repeat. So let's jump into the news of the day. What's in the news today? What is making the news today? Well, the government wants money. We know that. We have known that for some time now, that the government wants money. It seems though that they're going to further and further sources in attempts to get this money. They're varying their sources wide in attempts to source more money to do what they have to do. And now it seems now that where we have reached in the pursuit of resources for the government, we have reached our Venezuelan migrant neighbors. Apparently there's a new registration on the books for the Venezuelan migrants, another registration, but this time there's a bit of a tweak on it. Now there's a $700 fee attached to that registration for the Venezuelans. If you want to stay and you want to be registered, $700. Yikes! $700 for registration of illegal immigrants in TNT. You know what kind of funny? Some Trinidadians would look out at the United States and their immigration situation and as it would take the side of the migrants. And then when you look at it here in Trinidad and Tobago, listen, we're pretty anti-immigrant out here. Adding a $300 fee on top of that $700 to assist them with the process, lol, my money have to make $2. Government says it will begin registering all undocumented migrants in the country from next week and warn those who fail to register could face immediate deportation. Didn't the government promise they were going to deport some 2,000 Venezuelans or something like that? Whatever happened to the promise of deportation? Anybody else remembers that? Or am I having one of those hallucinations of a memory? I seem to remember that this present government promised to deport a couple thousand, was it, Venezuelans? Children will be exempted. Children would be exempted from the fee, or children would be exempted from the need to be registered. About 3,000 have already been given deportation letters, RL says. But RL, you and I are big people, we's big men. Deportation letters aren't deportation. And here's my question on this, RL. Shut up. Welcome. Here's my question on this, RL, and why this seems so strange to me and seems kind of nonsensical. All right. it seems obvious a lot of this is about making money. Let's not mince words. A lot of this is about making money. We want to make some money. The country need money. We have 10% to pay all about the place. Back pay to pay. Increase there. Gas not making as much money. Multinationals leaving. Money has to be made. All right, we're trying to make some money. So you put a $700 fee on this. And then Homelander says that previously, when the last administration did it, they're all good by Uncle Floyd. When the last administration did it, they said, Homelander says there was fraud. People registered under wrong names, wrong addresses, fake information. Okay, so these people said, these people, according to the information that we're getting, were willing to risk fraud when it was a free registration. What makes you think that putting a $700 fee is going to make them more receptive and honest? By and large, the Venezuelan migrants in Trinidad and Tobago are taking up the place of the lowest rung of workers in the society. The poorest apartments, that's where they rent. The lowest paying jobs, that's what they do, by and large. It is alleged it cost 6,000 TT for them to get registered. First time wasn't free. I didn't hear that. I did not hear that at all. $6,000? I don't think so. Somehow I don't believe that. And here's part of the problem with that issue. I think I would hear, I know some of the diaspora, but here's my problem with some of that issue. The reason these people are purportedly allowed into our country is because they are refugees. They are refugee status. So the refugees are the people you expect to extract $700 from. And if nobody registers because of this, or very, very few people register, so you still don't make the money because much fewer people turn out for the registration, they don't want to pay the $700 additional. What are you going to do? Are you then going to go on a mission to deport all of them? And here's the thing, Trinidad and Tobago doesn't have ice. We don't have winter. There's no ice in these parts. So it's going to be the police. It's going to be the same police who are trying to ticket people all over the nation's roads. The same police who are trying to catch the murderers all about the country. The same police who are trying to stop home invasions. The same police who are hunting down the car thieves. The same police who have to run sting operations to catch the Facebook marketplace bandits. Those same police somehow going to find the additional time and resources to go hunting all of these Venezuelans and deport them. And bear in mind, in order to do this, now I didn't see the video. I didn't see the video on Ian's page. And in order to do this as the police, you would have to know and be able to tell counterfeit and fraud documents. So you're going to have to teach a whole section of the police how to tell what is a legit document or not. And if we were aiming to make money with this $700, but instead we get no registrations, and now we have to enable the police to do mass deportations, and every single individual deportation would cost us quite a few $1,000s in and of itself. Are we actually going to make that money? Because if it's money we're looking for, I could understand why we aren't deporting people. As the Venezuelans, they could probably be comfortable with some of that. If there are enough of them here, Trinidad is just too broke to go through the process of deporting them all. That's just kind of the reality. Big Daddy US still here. I think they could give us a hand. A hand with what? We are here to serve the US needs. The US aren't here necessarily to serve our needs. At least not as ordered by us. The US is out here attempting to make third-party deals with countries so that they could send their migrants into other people's country. You think they care about our migrant situation? I doubt. I was reading something today, I don't know how verified it is yet, but they're saying with the oil already starting to move out of Venezuela, they're leapfrogging Trinidad. I heard the same Shazam. Dr. Icecap says make the migrants uncomfortable. But will it do? Will it do? Will the migrants indeed be made uncomfortable by putting a $700 fee that they just would not pay and they would not register? Then what? Then what? Like, I don't know how we expect the police to go on a mass deportation drive when there are Venezuelans blatantly, there are overt flesh markets next to police stations. Overt as in clear and obvious, flesh as in human flesh, markets as in you can purchase it within close proximity to police stations. And you think the police can't shut down this open air human flesh market run by Venezuelan migrants, but somehow they're going to find all of the migrants to be deported as they filter into all the communities throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Sure. The way I see this actually becoming more difficult is for those Venezuelan migrants who want to work above the board. Yes, RL, I'm aware. If you're a Venezuelan migrant and you want to work in the Chinese grocery, you need your little badge and whatever. You're trying to run things above board, it's going to cost you. But for those who are willing to bend the rules anyhow, they're not going to pay that $700. And in fact, I don't think we're going to make it back. As I said, if money is what the government is looking for to be made off of the migrants, then obviously we can't deport them because you would spend money to deport them. If finances are the bottom line, punish businesses that hire them, shut them down, Dr. Icecaps says. And what makes you think Trinidad has the prosecutorial infrastructure to do something like that? What makes you think so? Many of these businesses aren't even registered. Trinidad is not Haiti. I know that. What does Haiti have to do with what we're discussing? Do we have the ability generally to shut down businesses for bad business practices? Do you see that happening in Trinidad? Is that something you could see happening in Trinidad? And how are they going to do that? You foresee police teams going around to job sites and pulling up on contractors and asking the contractor to present the registration papers for all their Venezuelan workers? That you foresee a police squad doing that? You might not like it, but you can say it doesn't exist. Dry eye, Dr. Ice Caps. I don't like when we're having discussions and it feels like the person is speaking to a ghost. Are you a robot? Or are you an actual human listening and responding? Obviously, Trinidad has governance. But what about the history of our governance makes you think that we have the kind of governance that can comb through the migrant status of workers? Our police service, I'm not making excuses for not trying. I'm not talking about trying. Okay, I'm glad you're a supporter of the TTPS and you're holding up the pom-poms and saying, yay, try harder. That's not what realistic big human people do. We look honestly at reality. We aren't hoping for the fairies to come save us. So we're looking honestly at reality and saying, does this seem like something that would work? We are in a state of emergency where the police are granted greater legal powers, yet still we are over a murder a day. Yet still cars are being stolen daily. The police service is run thin, if you ask them. They never have cars. They never have enough people to send. But yet somehow we're going to find the ability to get a parallel law enforcement group from the same overstretched police service to chase down and catch tens of thousands of illegal migrants while checking to see if their papers are legitimate. Then after we chase them, we catch them, we apprehend them and put them in a facility, we have the court cases to face. Y'all remember that some migrants sued us and one, was it $2 million they won? I wonder how many lawsuits would crop up if the TTPS, like, we know the level of professionalism we have in our TTPS. Imagine if the TTPS goes out on a mass migrant capture mission. You'll see the stories coming out of the United States, how emotional a lot of that could get. Bring in mercenaries. They aren't entitled to due process. Everyone's entitled to due process. The question is, what is the due process that they're entitled to? And sir, in case you haven't been paying attention, they've been winning in our courts. Our courts have been awarding illegal Venezuelan migrants. A woman who came in the country illegally, was posted back out, returned illegally with her son. She won. 2 million, I believe it was, she won. So, I don't know what dream world you live in. Where are these mercenaries coming from? Where are these mercenaries coming from? No, they aren't. They're illegals. They couldn't get away with it in other countries. What rubbish are you talking about? Presently, the United States has what some people allege upwards of 20 million. And some of the states are saying, no, we won't let you take them. So what are you talking about? They don't get away with that in other countries. The United Kingdom is struggling with their refugee and asylum system. What are you talking about? You speak as an ignoramus. And if we're looking to save money, we're going to spend that money that we're looking to save to hire foreign mercenaries to come on local soil and apprehend Venezuelan migrants. All right. Well, Dr. Icecaps, go live in the Middle East. If that turns you on and that really gets your gears ticking, go live in the Middle East and enjoy people being turned into furniture for such things. The reality is, for sensible people on this side of the world, we could look and see that's not how things work. And the wishful fairy thinking isn't going to make it work that way. You have to figure out how exactly are we going to do this. How are we going to get how much ever the number is of Venezuelans that we don't want in the country apparently? How are we going to get them all out? How? And money is already a problem. It's not as easy as some people think. It's not as easy. Immigrants urged to register or risk immediate deportation. From next Friday, undocumented immigrants will be able to start the process of registering to work legally in Trinidad and Tobago. Adult applicants will be required to pay $700. The first step is registering online. After that, you will be called for an in-person registration interview, and eventually you will receive your migration registration framework card. This project is being conducted under the Ministry of Homeland Security and the Ministry of Defense. Here's my question. I wonder if this card, whatever the card is going to look at, how easy is it going to be counterfeited? The reality is, men like you, me, aren't willing to do what's necessary to get these people out. Men like me? I had nothing to do with these people coming in. So I don't know what you expect men like me to do to get these people out. And explain to me what a man like you are doing. Man like you, what are you doing? Are you personally running around Trinidad like Rambo, apprehending Venezuelans and going down Cedros and posting them back on a pirogue? What are you doing, pray tell? Superman? What have you been doing? Have you been single-handedly getting rid of all of the Venezuelan migrants? Like, what are you talking about? Not willing to do what it takes. What does it take? The ignorance, and that's why politicians pull wool over so many people's eyes, because they are ignorant. They don't know, yet they're very confident in their ignorance. You cannot just grab refugees and throw them out. You cannot just grab them and do as you like. That's how we ended up owing them money. That's how they ended up suing us, and we're paying them. Did you comment on the displacement tracking matrix that will be used for them? No, I did not. Yes, millionaire. Exactly that, the Dunning-Kruger effect. The more ignorant, the more confident they become in their ignorance. Someone is saying we're going to hire the top mercenary firm in the world to bring them into Trinidad to track down and catch all the Venezuelan migrants so that we could post them back to Venezuela. Like, you look at too many movies. You watch too many cartoons and read too many comic books. Like, what are you talking about? Even our regiment do not have arresting power the way the Constitution grants the police. It's not something that you could just do like a government hires foreign mercenaries. You imagine the optics of that. A bunch of white men fully decked in modern armor and weapons crawling through Trinidad in black vehicles, grabbing up Venezuelans and pelting them inside. Like, and people don't, the complexity of such a situation. There are some Venezuelans who are citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. There are some citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who look like they're Venezuelans. It's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. I will be very interested to see how this all turns out. If they form gangs here and us class them as US class them as terrorists, it actually is possible. Eh? But that's supposing that every single migrant joins the gang. I'm a lookalike, I'll get deported. There are many lookalikes. And then there are some Trini women that look like they try to look alike. Eh? They try their best to look alike. No comment on that. They do. I was shocked at some people's racism towards them. I was not. Listen, you talk to some Trinis, and the idea that we could look at any other country and frown at how they treat their migrants is ridiculous. Not every, but lots of Trinis would be the furthest right when it comes to such immigrant sentiments, you know. I wasn't surprised. You hear people talk, and you hear when people refer to, like, even the guy that was here, them people and the Venice, and it's in the tone of how they say it, you get the impression that they kind of don't think these people are human beings, at least not human beings like them. They're a different kind of people. Nah, them people, them different, you know. Nah. You see them? Understandable, but I'm just saying that's the way Trinidad is. That is the way we are. That happens when people don't know their history, because Trinidad has always been an immigrant land. Yeah, we have always been an immigrant land, that's true. But I don't blame people for suspicion about immigrants, because the resources of a country are limited. And the more people that are there to use those resources, it does have a chance of making the resources more difficult to access for the people who were there before. Like, a place being historically a place of immigrants doesn't mean that it needs to remain forever a free-for-all. Then the place wouldn't be able to grow and benefit. At least it will be very difficult for that to happen. America. And that's the problem that many of those on the right in America are voicing. Too many, too quickly. To some extent, I kind of think so. I think it was too many, too quickly in Trinidad and Tobago's version too. But what I'm saying is, how do we undo that? How do you change that too many too quickly? What can we do to fix that, really and truly? Have you ever considered entering the political arena? I think you'd hit heavy. I think they would hit me heavy. Trinidad and Tobago is a very dangerous country, you know? It is a very dangerous country. That's why I say when I hear politicians, etc., talk about making changes and making things better, I'm like, if any politician is legitimately doing that, they need to have round the clock 24-hour protection, because it's a very dangerous country. There are lots of people who make a lot of money because of the way things are currently run. Speaking of, DEA warns of potential fentanyl threat to TNT. Special Agent in charge of the Drug Enforcement Administration Caribbean Division, Michael A. Miranda, says the agency is working with local partners to prevent fentanyl from gaining a foothold in Trinidad and Tobago. Speaking on TV6's Morning Edition program yesterday, Miranda explained that the DA's Fentanyl Free America program was created because of the impact of the synthetic opioid in the United States. We've had a great number of deaths in the US, and although it's trending downward, we are focused on making sure we get the message out to let people know how dangerous fentanyl is. He noted that TNT has not experienced the same impact, but said the risk remains. We haven't seen those effects in Trinidad yet, but because of the connections, because of the relationships many Caribbean citizens would have with persons in the United States, we do believe that this is going to be one of the next places they try to saturate with fentanyl. The fentanyl they're warning about. More drugs might be coming. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Because we are already serious transshipment point. There are already lots of drugs that do come through the country. So what's another one to add to the list? I would hope that our pipers in Trinidad have a bit more sense than that. But I mean, if you're piping, you're piping. And it's not like they may even know. It's not like, generally speaking, they go asking, let me get a hit of Fenty day. No, it's laced in something else. So, the Prime Minister's war on the energy chamber is having some effect. Store certification seems to be no more. Energy chamber to give back store money. Contractors who paid for their safe to work store audit with the energy chamber and it has not yet started will get a full refund. Others will get a partial refund or none, according to which part of the store process has been reached. This was stated in a memo to members of the energy chamber on Friday, a day after the government announced that all state enterprises within the energy sector will no longer participate in the store program. I agree, Alex. Speaking during the cabinet press conference on Thursday, Energy Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal said, I can also indicate that all state enterprises involved in the energy sector have taken decisions respectively to do away with, terminate and or discontinue the store process for entry into this sector, which we believe to have been unfair and to have enriched individuals and entities at the expense of keeping out small and medium-sized enterprises and new businesses from the sector. Compliance is important in the chemical estate. I am confused. Listen, things like this very often aren't what keeps you safe in the industry. Many times this is a technical racket. It's like defensive driving. When I first heard of defensive driving, way before I was even able to get a license, I figured this defensive driving thing is something where you go to an institute and they put you in a vehicle and you go through courses and they teach you how to make certain special corners and how to stop quickly and how to do and hands-on. It's sitting in a room and watching a video for a few hours. That's what defensive driving is. And now you're a defensive driver, so says your license, because you sat through a boring presentation. So it's not that it was actually making anybody safer. And Stowe was basically a lot of that same thing. It's the problem very often with regulation. You put someone into a key position and they're able to make off with a lion's share just because of the rules created. The thing I'm wondering with this, yes, I understand the weaponizing, but some compliance is necessary. Well, I would say get the places where the compliance is extremely necessary and get what needs to be necessary for it and do that. It doesn't need to be industry-wide. That's part of the problem. And I agree with the government. I agree with the government. This seems like a money-making drive. You're herding people into your own areas and then you're making free money off of them. That's kind of ridiculous. OWTU backs government stance on energy chamber Stowe. The Oilfield Workers Trade Union has expressed support for the Prime Minister and the government's position on the energy chamber of Trinidad and Tobago, including the decision to reassess the chamber's role in the energy sector and to cancel the Stowe certification system. Basically, you can't take a guy from a grocery and send him into a process plant. Well, obviously not. But here's the thing. It's like a lot of the laws in the country I find similar to that. By and large, the process plant owner doesn't want someone that they just take out the grocery to go in the plant, you know. That doesn't benefit them. If the grocery guy goes in and dies, he's a liability to them. If he goes in and damages something, it's a liability to them. They don't want that. It is in their best financial interest for the person to be at least capable. So it's not like you need the government to force them to hire a capable worker. They want to hire a capable worker. And even if you remove certifications from the industry, the people that require some amount of preparation, some amount of understanding and standards for their workforce, they will get a replacement for it. Not difficult to do. And I think they will. Let's jump into some police news. Police opened fire during Barataria patrol. One arrested. Police seem busy out there. And listen, I don't mind the police doing this. I mean, I understand the killing out in St. Augustine still has questions over it. I don't know. But I rather the police out on the road at 12:20 a.m. looking for bandits. That's what I prefer. I don't mind this at all, officers. I don't mind that at all. Yes, something wrong there. I saw the video. I'm excited to go see that video to see exactly what's going on. What exactly we're talking about. All right, the people. If there are no further questions on the inside, I'll be making my exit. Any further questions or comments before I dive out? All right, people, that's all I have for now. If you're educated, informed, or entertained, this is brought to you by Mindful Education. It's the educational institution that I run. Of course, Shazam. So if you're interested in some extra classes, if you're interested in signing someone up for full-time, part-time, homeschool style, homeschool geared classes, if you're looking for learning pods, in-person classes, personal tutoring for most CXC and CAPE subjects, we start all the way from early childhood all the way up to CAPE. We offer all of those. If you're interested, hit us up. Until the next time, people, see you next week. Peace. I'm out. Bye. Laters Instagram. Laters Facebook.